Be bold, my child. King Herod sought me, a child, that he might put me to death. But Joseph, warned by an angel, took me and my mother by night and retired into Egypt. The unseasonable hour of the night, my tender age, the condition of my parents, the abandoning of my native land, the dwelling in a foreign country, the tarrying among infidels whose manners were contrary to mine, the poverty and obscureness of my life, drudgery and hardship, everything in fine was suited to render the heart cheerless. Yet amid all this my heart remained so free that neither time nor place nor men nor any created objects whatever could render it captive. My child, strive by every means in your power to imitate this holy freedom of my heart. My heart, alleviated above the reach of all else, was restrained by the good pleasure of my Father alone. So also should your heart, raised above all created objects, be held by the divine will alone. The greatest freedom to which the heart of man can aspire is this, to be dependent upon no one except its God. This is that true, that perfect liberty, whereby man is nobly exalted and elevated above his very superiors, through whom, as the organs of God, he is pleased to have my will made known. Whoever possesses this freedom is raised above every creative power, above all the whims and fickleness of men, above all the casual events of times, places, and circumstances, insomuch that unless he betray himself, he can be enslaved by no created object. But nothing can gain this privilege unless he wholly devotes to me his heart, disengaged from every creature. For so long as you inordinately desire or fear anything, so long will your heart be fettered and embarrassed. Your heart will be a slave so long as it follows its natural inclination in either direction, or seeks in anything, even in what is good, itself as its end. There are those who, released from sin and the world, endeavour to be also released from themselves, that they may freely live for me, who yet sigh in my service as under a heavy yoke, because they suffer themselves to be ensnared by a delusion, whereby they fancy me a troublesome ruler or a harsh master, always bent on discovering something to punish. These assuredly do me great injustice, deter their neighbours from my service, and render themselves wretched to no purpose. Am I not a father? Where is there a father's heart like mine? Who then is so much a father as I am? A father infinitely wise, who knows everything. What is useful, what is hurtful to my children, infinitely powerful, against whose will no enemy, whether visible or invisible, can do the least harm to my children. Infinitely good, who love my children with a heart burning with a divine love, and long to turn all things, evil as well as good, to their advantage. Therefore, show in my service that you are the worthy child of such a Father, and do not, by a most unseemly crime, conduct yourself as the servants of an overbearing master. Keep the goodwill of shunning whatever you know is displeasing, and of doing whatever you understand is agreeable to me, and then expand your heart, not indeed to the false freedom, the hard yoke of the children of the world, but to the true freedom, the sweet privilege of the children of my heart. This do I love, that my children enjoy a holy freedom, and I consider myself greatly honoured thereby. Use therefore a becoming diligence to please me, and do not be anxious to know whether in reality you are pleasing to me, but setting aside all subtlety of the understanding and all uneasiness of the will, throw yourself with this confidence on my heart. It cannot be otherwise than that, so far from being offended, I will rather be delighted with this freedom of heart, inspired by a pure and generous love. Under my guidance, under my protection, under my divine care, be free from all inordinateness. Neither excessively fear hell, the world, nor yourself. For although of self you are able to do nothing, you can do much in me, in whom you believe, in whom you hope, whom you love. If at any time you fall into faults, do not conduct yourself like a menial servant, who full of alarm stands in dread of stripes, and is desirous either of running away or of cowardly hiding himself, but act like a child that loves his father, and forthwith endeavours to make up for his guilt, who runs to his father with so much the more freedom, the greater the goodness which he knows him to possess. As often therefore as you sadly fall, do you return to me in a childlike manner, ask forgiveness, and renew your resolve of being faithful, nor suffer the peace of your heart to be disturbed, or your freedom lessened. Neither should the means of perfection fetter your heart, for even these, if they took away the holy freedom of your heart, would be rather that obstacles rather than means. Wherefore, so soon as I make known to you my will, you must freely overlook everything else, and be solely dependent on my bidding. Take heed, however, my child, lest under pretence of a holy freedom you indulge the fickleness of the heart, as they do who allow themselves to be guided by feeling, not by principle. To them that which a little before was pleasing now becomes irksome. In the glow of fervour they assume spiritual practices, and soon afterwards leave them off again, or perform them with distaste. They live now in one way, and in a short time wearied they try another. Now they mortify themselves severely as if they were wholly spiritual, and soon again, having become really sensual, they flatter nature. This surely is not to be a child of freedom, but the sport of fickleness, the slave of feeling. My child, be more steadfast in regard to your freedom. If you are busy with any employments, do not give yourself up to them, merely lend yourself to them, lest instead of yourself being their master, they rule you. As often as you feel yourself impelled by nature, either to undertake or to perform something, do forthwith check your ardour, otherwise you shall soon perceive that your heart is being fettered, and that the matter itself is less rightly done. Let no place on earth hold your heart bound to itself. Keep it free everywhere, knowing that I, your God, am found in all places, that my children are everywhere cherished by my Spirit. Finally, that where my Spirit is, there is true freedom. Wherever, therefore, you may be master of yourself in all things, whether internal or external, whether spiritual or temporal, whether lofty or lowly. Keep your heart free, united above everything with the divine will. My child, you should so cherish and guard the freedom of your heart, that no one, neither your inferior, nor your equal, nor even your superior, can take it away. Wherefore, you ought to judge of nothing, nor strive after it according to the resemblance of things, the opinions of men, or your own feeling. In all things let the standard of your judgment be the truth, which you shall find by examining how my heart has judged them, and let my will be the rule of your desiring. This truth will free you, and you shall be free indeed. This divine will shall guide you and keep you free. The more glorious this holy freedom of heart is to me, the more useful to yourself and to your neighbour. With the more care is it to be fostered, the more resolutely is it to be defended against your foes. Beside the demon and the world, nature will also frequently rise up against it. Pride, with many reasonings, and self-love, in various ways will prey upon it to cause it to yield, at least in some or other matter. But you will frustrate and overcome the assaults and stratagems of your enemies, if boldly counter to what these foes suggest, and if you simply follow my will. Whoever wills everything according to my divine good pleasure, whoever lives by this and seeks his happiness, there enjoy a true and holy freedom, which I desire every disciple of my heart to possess, and which neither hell nor the world nor any creature can take away.